What's going on, everyone? It's Daniel Cho, aka Freedom Warrior. Thank you for joining me on this special live on this Saturday, on Friday. Okay, and basically this live, I have a very special guest, and who is my seven-figure mentor. Okay, Zach Crawford, and basically I invited him from his busy schedule so he can come here and talk to you guys exactly how he can start from having $50,000 in debt to making over $1 million online within just 18 months without even selling his own course. Okay. And he is one of the very few, if not the only one I've ever seen who can do this. So this live training is super valuable. Get your questions ready and let me bring Zach on the show. Hey, what's up, Zach?
What's going
How
on,
are
guys?
you?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Yeah, and thank you for joining me today on this show. I know you are very busy, and we have a lot of people watching this show. So, before we get started, if you are watching this live, please drop hashtag live. If you are watching this on replay, please drop hashtag replay. Okay, and the goal for this live training, live interview is to have Zach to give you as much clarity as possible. Okay, regardless what phases that you are in your affiliate marketing journey. So, welcome you guys. I see that a lot of Ami is here, Nate is here, Fruz is here, Dylan is here. Okay, we have a lot of people. Spencer. Okay, now let's get started. I mean, I have some questions ready for you, Zach. So tell us a little bit, okay? How on earth did you do it? I mean, when you first got started, I know your background story, but a lot of people they don't know your background story when you first started out. So tell us how exactly you did it when you first got started.
Yeah, so now I teach affiliate marketing and everything, but that actually wasn't, really how I started. I kind of fell into this. So originally when I started, I was $50,000 in debt. I got hit by a drunk driver, at 19 years old back in 2006. From there, I basically kind of self-sabotaged myself for years, drinking myself silly, popping pills because of the debt. Around roughly 24 years old, I got to a point, 24 going into 25. At this point, I started researching about how to make money online. And the creditors essentially called me and gave me an ultimatum that it's like, hey, look, we're going to take your money. You're going to keep working your job and you're just going to basically give us most of it. And I was working a job at the post office, working like 50 to 80 hours a week, which I absolutely despise. And at that point, I mean, I basically took a risky move. I was following this mentor, if we will call it at that time, where he didn't even do anything with affiliate marketing. He sold cat furniture of all things, like e-commerce products. But he lived over in the Philippines, and I got fascinated with this whole concept of I could live for cheap, in the Philippines and build my business. So at that point, I basically sold everything I owned. I had $12,000 to my name after I sold my Jeep. I don't know if you ever seen any of the pictures of me, Daniel. I posted in the group where I had the old like wife beater tank tops. I literally I had about 10 of those, some shorts, and I went to the Philippines with 12 grand. And then basically within 3 months, I was almost broke at that point. I kind of went into basically running an outsourcing business because I didn't even have a plan when I went over there. It was just like, I remember when I actually told my dad I was going to go there, he thought I was nuts. And it was a desperate move, I went over
that
there.
was a bold move. Not everybody has the courage to do that. I mean,
I'll be
what
honest.
made
I
you
don't think it was
make that
courage. I
decision?
think at that point I was more desperation. Like I was at a point where I had nothing to lose. I mean, they're basically going to sue me at that point. I was already living paycheck to paycheck to pay off the debt. And at that point I was going to be stuck, living in a job that I hated. So it was a gamble. I sold everything and went over there. And how I kind of fell into affiliate marketing was more by chance. I kind of learned about it when I was buying a bunch of different products. Like a lot of people, I don't know your audience if all of them have bought products before, but I bought plenty. And so I was over in the Philippines, and first I started an outsourcing business, which, honestly, I probably got that to about six figures in roughly 6 months. So it was making money, but it wasn't making money. Like a lot of people don't even like understand when they get in business, making six figures and actually keeping the money is totally different, right? You can be running a six-figure business and basically you're broke. I mean, it's like the money's going out. And so because of that business model, literally all the money that was coming in, it was going to all my employees. I had like a staff of like 15 people. Basically I could pay my rent at the end of the day. That was about it. So I started thinking like, man, there's no way this is going to work. I'm never going to get out of debt doing this. I need to figure out another way to get, more income. And so what I would do is at like 10 o'clock at night, I would literally like sit up at night and start researching different business models. And it hit me about affiliate marketing is one that I was really interested in and kind of dabbled with a little bit when I was back in the US. And so it come to like a turning point probably after about, I don't know, a year of doing that outsourcing business and being miserable. I needed to jump. I was starting to get a little bit of income, and I had to make that jump that it's either you go all in and do this, or you're going to be stuck, doing this business that you hate forever. And so that's when I made that jump to basically go all in on affiliate marketing. You probably heard me tell the story. I won't go into that completely because it makes me emotional every time I talk about it. But I come to my epiphany when, I drove around the Philippines and realized, that I was selfish, the story I tell about in the Philippines. And that was when I made the jump to actually go all in on affiliate marketing. And then when I focused on it, basically in 45 days, I made 40K by month 8, I made 227,000 by month 12, I made over 500K. The one missing element though, that I didn't share when I went through this like little brief story, I got paired up with a mentor at the time, and he was the one that kind of turned me on to this whole affiliate marketing world. So he broke down for me, which is high ticket, selling something. In my definition, high ticket is something selling at least $2,000, not $1,000 like most people. But he turned me on to this whole thing that, like, at that time when I started doing affiliate marketing myself, I was promoting stuff like JVZoo, ClickBank, Warrior Plus. I don't really know if Warrior Plus is a big thing anymore. I know JVZoo is, but basically I was promoting all these cheap products, and it was when he kind of helped me to figure out like high ticket is the way to go, and that's what really propelled me. And then of course also having a strategic plan that you follow. But I wouldn't say it's like a secret or anything I did. It was just having a good plan, staying consistent with it, following it long enough until momentum basically stacked the odds in my favor.
I see. And so since before you do affiliate marketing business, before you made that switch, you were running your agency business, which you felt miserable. So after you make the switch, right? In the affiliate marketing space, you were a complete beginner, okay, in some way, because you didn't have any experience. So when you first started out, what your day looked like? Okay, I mean, what did you do all day?
So you mean like my daily routine?
Yes, something like that.
Okay, so
when you
my
were
daily
beginner?
routine now is obviously much different than what it was back then. But back then, I started out by blogging, out of all things. I would never blog this day and age, just because I hate writing. But back then, I was scared to do video. I wanted nothing to do with the camera. There was no live stream stuff. There wasn't, Instagram, TikTok, and that stuff. I mean, blogging was kind of the big way to drive traffic. We had Facebook. I think Instagram was starting to come on the scene, but like, there's only a handful of ways you could drive traffic. It was Google or, using some of the new social media platforms that were out. And so I started with blogging. So the one thing that I had going for me, and to, to be 100% transparent, it wasn't like I just like all of a sudden got this plan and boom, I was successful. I was doing a blog for like 6 months, but it wasn't focused 100% on this world. I was just documenting my progress. I bought this blog, which is my old brand, called Psychological and Employable. And I was literally just documenting everything I was doing. So when I originally started writing and creating an audience, I was sharing about, how I was running. It wasn't an agency, actually. It was really an outsourcing business. I was the provider for agencies. So imagine if you were an agency owner selling to business owners offline, people come to me. And then from there, basically, Zach locked up most of the affiliate sources back in the day. Yeah. So basically, I started out though, but by sharing my journey of the agency. And then once, I got out of the, I got to the point where I started doing affiliate marketing. That's when I started really learning, about SEO and, it's like really geeky stuff, but creating blog networks. I don't know if you ever heard about that. It's like where you create like hundreds of blogs that all link to yours.
Right.
So, I mean, really, like one of the things that a lot of people, I think, and I guess we can talk about that later, but a lot of people think like, you strike on some magical plan, then boom, you hit it. And I'm probably sure with even your journey, you can remember back all the different people that you learn from, all the mistakes you made. It's like once you connect with the right person, it's like it all comes together. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so that's really how it worked for me, right? I was learning from all these different people. I was doing, some of the right things, like creating an audience, which is what I'll talk about later. And so because I had an audience of people that, somewhat liked me, once I started doing affiliate marketing, I already had like a built-in audience. It wasn't a big audience. When I say like an audience, I don't even know if I had 1,000 people. I probably would have been lucky if I had 1,000, probably more like 200 or 300 people. But because I had 200 or 300 people that had been following me for a bit, like one of the ones that I know has followed me from like the old days that I seen his name pop up on the screen was Daniel Gabriel. Like, because I had an audience built in, that there was people to buy from me right away because I built trust. And to me, that's the secret, if we will, is building an audience and people that trust you, because once they trust you, like then they're going to buy from you. And so that was one of the things I would say, if I look back, of why I was able to get fast success, is I built a little bit of an audience, just kind of sharing what I was doing. And then from there, I doubled down on, like he was talking about, I locked up all the affiliate terms, and it was because I seen what was working. So I did more of what was working. But that was probably one of the other things. So besides having a mentor helping me to be strategic on the plan, I was doing some of the right pieces. I just didn't really realize it when I was doing it, if that makes sense. I was like doing things, and I was doing some of the right things, but I didn't quite realize, like, hey, this is the most important thing, which is building your audience of people that actually like and trust you.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this also tie up to my next question. Okay, so what marketing strategy had worked the best for your business at that time and got you your very first success online?
Yeah, so that would have definitely been blogging. And then the second thing would be a Facebook group. So the one thing I've done, like now I'm branching into multiple social media platforms, ads, all the additional stuff. But the one thing that also, besides blogging, that worked really well before I started like venturing into video, like video was the game changer for me. But before I started doing video, I always had a Facebook group, because back then, I mean, that's what everybody taught. Even back then, it still works just as effective, if not more now. I think a Facebook group is like the modern day email list. So
Right.
I was building a blog that would get the audience. Then I started building an email list, because when I was trying to do like even recommend products on my blog, I couldn't figure out why nobody was buying. It was because they were just like going to the page, and if the sales page sucked, I never heard from them again. So I started building an email list, because I kind of put two and two together, that when I would go to these other people's blogs, because generally whatever you do, you do it because you see other people do it, right? People like
Right.
podcasts generally become podcasters. People that love YouTube become YouTubers. People that like, TikTok, for example, do TikTok. And so when I was going to all these blogs, I had this aha moment, like, man, I'm like putting my email in, and then they send me more emails, and I'm buying from the emails. I'm like, this is what I'm missing. So I created an email list, and my first email list was like, subscribe to updates on my blog, which is funny. But that was one of the things. I started building an email list. And then the third thing is I started building a Facebook group. And so in the Facebook group, I would just share all these tips of what I was learning. And that's what I always talk about now, the role of the relatable beginner, because that's what I did all those years, back then. I just shared what I was doing, going through it. So I think one of your questions you wanted to ask me later, you talked about earlier, is a strategy to actually do now. And that's what I did, is I was sharing everything I was learning. So when I would buy courses, when I would get books, when I would get a mentor, whatever I was investing in, I would learn everything I could like a sponge, and just share it in that free Facebook group. And then anytime I recommended something, it was like a tidal wave. People would buy, because I was building trust first before I sold. So that's why, even if you look at me now, I don't think I'm a very aggressive salesperson, because that's what I did. It worked for me forever. It's like you're giving value, and you're introducing, hey, this is what I do. You're giving value, and if you keep doing that over time, more and more people, join you in whatever it is that you're recommending as you go. It's really about building trust. So for me, yeah, I mean, if you look at like what worked for me back then, it would have been blogging, building an email list, and Facebook group. If I would even look at now, it would still be building an audience, collecting emails, collecting a Facebook group, and then building that relationship. So I think with everything, man, like the marketing methods change. So with this question, it's kind of a loaded question, because what worked for me back then wouldn't work now. And that's one of the biggest things I can tell you. If I look at my journey of having wins, having failures, the biggest thing I've learned is you've got to be willing to adapt. I mean, if you even look like right now, we're going into a world where now it's going to be Web 3.0, and we're going to have the metaverse. I honestly think eventually marketing is going to happen in the metaverse. And that's the thing that you got to be able to do, is pivot with what's working. Now video is dominating everything. And back then I didn't want to do video. I was scared of video, but I knew that I had to do video because I seen, it was changing. And so that's one thing I would tell like whoever it is that asked the question, be willing to adapt, because what worked even, a year ago may not work a year from now.
That's the awesome advice. Okay. And you guys, if you do think that you are receiving value, okay, drop hashtag value. Let's get this video out to as many people as possible. Okay. So drop hashtag value, and we are just getting started. I have
Also,
prepared
Daniel, real quick, not to interrupt you, if you could, since I can see the back end, you have it on private chat, switch it to comments, because that way if people are asking like things that are relevant to what I'm talking about, I can dive deeper into those things. Because I can't see what people are asking. So that way, if somebody asks a question, like it's related to what I'm talking about, we can just kind of knock two birds with one stone.
Sounds good. So I will just type in the private chat so you can see it, right?
Oh, okay, that'll work. Yeah. So if you get questions, just let me know. That way I can like answer them for them.
Sounds good. And the right hand side, you also can see all the comments, right?
No, I just see it. The only thing I see highlighted is private chat. I don't see comments.
I see. Okay, no problem. I'll bring it up. We have a lot of people dropping value. Okay. So yeah, basically I have a lot of tough questions because Zach is so busy and this might be my only chance to
Go. I mean, if people have questions for 2 hours, I'll sit here for 2 hours. Let's go.
Right. Okay, sounds good. So my next question would be, we all know, I mean, sometimes we all feel lonely, especially when we put ourselves on this being an entrepreneur journey, right? So
Yeah.
you have been through a lot of up and downs. So who has been your biggest supporter over the course of your entire online career? Like when you feel lost, when you feel overwhelmed, feel frustrated, who is your biggest supporter?
Hands down, my dad. I mean, like from day one, he's always been like, that's the one thing that I'm thankful for. Like a lot of the people I've worked with over the years, they tell me like, their spouse doesn't support them. Sometimes I've seen like, one, like say the husband wants to be in the business or the wife wants to be in the business and the other one thinks that it's kind of a scam. I've seen, for example, like when I first started, I always tell this story. It makes me laugh. As you know, my back history is going back and forth to the Philippines, right? Which now I'm even engaged to a Filipino. But originally, like my one uncle made the comment that to my dad that I was going over there to get a mail order bride, which I thought was really funny. If you actually know how the process of a mail order bride works. I mean, like it can be a very lonely journey, man. Like the one thing I can tell you is for me personally, I keep my circle very small. And the reason being is I think in this world, there's very few people that are really going to truly have your back, like, like endlessly. And if I look over the years, like now I have like some really amazing people that, work with me that like, if I need somebody to lean on and another perspective, some of my original students that become millionaires, like my best friends now. So like, in the last week, I was dealing with a tough situation and, that person used to be a student and I was able to reach out to him for other perspective. And I'm like, oh man, why didn't I think about that? But if I look at the person that's like kicked me in the butt, made me keep going when I wanted to quit over and over, it's my dad, hands down. And a lot of people think even like once you make a lot of money, the problems go away. And I can tell you it's way worse. Like the more money you make, the more times you want to cry, the more times you feel like you're getting kicked in the face.
Right.
One of my mentors once told me that when you're making like $100,000 a year, you may have 1 to 2 problems that like really feel like it's the end of the world. Right. I don't know if you've faced any of those yet in your career, but like when you're making like 100,000, it's a couple times a year. When you get to the point like $1 million, it feels like, once a month. When you get in the territory where you're making multiple 7 figures a year, like where I'm at now, it's like, I feel like I'm getting kicked in the teeth, like literally once a week. At times I'm like, some days I just want to cry. I'm like, okay, sit back, get collective. And that's where it's really good to have that one person. I don't know if it's your wife, your husband, you have a best friend, somebody that's like an accountability partner, like to take your emotions out of the business because it's going to be lonely at times. It's going to be times that you feel like, it's the end of the world, times you want to blow the business up. I mean, there's times I felt like pouring gas on my business and just blowing it up and walking away. And that's why it's always good to have somebody that generally pushes you to play bigger. They have your back, and times when you feel depressed or down, they push you. Like I'll be honest, probably 4 out of the not 4, let's say 3 out of 7 days a week, I don't feel like doing the business. I don't feel like doing videos. I don't feel like writing posts, and having that person to push you and say, hey, like you can not do it. But what's the alternative? Are you here's your goal. What's more important, your goal or just feeling sorry for yourself? And that's one of the biggest things I think I've learned in business is that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not all fun. There's plenty of times that you feel frustrated, angry, upset, you self-doubt yourself, imposter syndrome. I don't know if anybody's felt that, but I feel it even now. I mean, there's plenty of times I feel, like down and I feel like, am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? And I think a lot of people think like, because you're successful, those go away. And I'm sure you even have those, there's times you probably feel like an imposter too, right? Like you're just
Yeah, definitely every
man,
day. Almost.
I'm just not good enough. And I feel that even now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, having your dad supporting you, that's so amazing. I mean, that's really good. I mean, because my dad passed away a few years ago, so I never had the chance to do what I want to do for him, right? So I'm super grateful for this opportunity because I still have my mom left. So if I make it, I can take care of her. So that's why I fight so hard every single day right now. So
I think you've already passed if you make it.
So here's another question. Now I mean, from everybody's standard, you already made it. You are on top of the mountain. So
Yeah.
you have money in your bank. So what is the biggest motivator, or what was the biggest motivator for you to keep going in this journey? Okay, from
All right. Yeah,
junior
that's a really
to
loaded
now.
question.
Yeah.
Okay, so what keeps me going? Is that what you're saying? Like what keeps me motivated now that I have all the money in the bank? Okay, so number one would be I grew up in a trailer park, so I don't anybody that's not in the US, they don't like when I say this, they're like, what's a trailer park? I'm trying to think like how to if you if you're not in America and you've not seen a trailer park, it's like pretty much at the bottom of the tier when it comes to like living, right? And so when I grew up, I didn't grow up around rich people. My parents had to work their butt off to give me like what they did, and I can remember like literally when I was like 12 years old, I was telling like my friends I'm going to be rich, and I had all these like I was trying to sell stuff at the flea market, pawn Pokemon cards. Like I was meant to be an entrepreneur from day one, and so like once I actually started making money, I guess the thing that keeps me going is the fear of being broke again. Like to me, the thought of okay, so like then that person knows, and I'm not saying that it's bad, right? Just I've come from there, but I was just trying to explain it. But yeah, but like for me, some of the things that keep me going is thinking about number one, going back to being poor. Number two, now that it's happened, which now I almost don't wish I said it, but personally, okay, so about 2 months ago, so 2 months ago, basically my fiance almost died, and so essentially that completely rocked my world, right? It put more perspective for me about why it's not the money that's the motivating part, right? Number one, it's the person you become in the process for me, because I was very insecure, in debt. I felt sorry for myself, depressed, was abusing drugs and alcohol when I started. And once I had the money, like it really put it in perspective to be able to help your family, right? So essentially, we thought she had leukemia. I didn't for the last like 4 to 6 months. I've kept it quiet. I didn't really share because I didn't want people to know that, right? Because it's personal.
Right.
And then what happened was it hit like a monumental moment where all of a sudden I get a call from her family, and like they're literally rushing her to the hospital because she just like passed out like a rock. And like I thought she was done, like she was dead. I mean, lifeless. Went into coma. And for basically 5 days, it was the worst hell of my life to know, is the future of my life about to change, right? To think your best friend is about to be gone. And in that moment, that was when I realized why you have to get rich, why you have to make a lot of money, because I never want to be put in a position that I cannot help my family. And then, of course, in the last week, my French bulldog, which, I ended up paying like $6,000 for the dog. I got another $5,000 or $6,000 wrapped up in vet bills. He's had seizures. In the last week, they thought he had a liver failure. And so he was going to have to basically get emergency surgery. And then it just got an ultrasound and then found out that basically, thank God he's healthy and he's going to be fine. But during those two events in the last like 60 days, it made me realize why I have to keep working harder, why you have to keep setting the goal bigger. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about, buying a Lamborghini and all the nice stuff makes us feel good, right? You get to check it off the bucket list. You get to do some things that you wanted to do. But honestly, now, man, I'm trying to live more frugal than I ever have because I'm trying to invest more of my money because I want my family to be set. I never want to have to tell, my wife, no, you can't have this, or no, we can't do this. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's probably the biggest thing. Another thing is going back to a job. So one of the things I try to do about, like, I don't do it during the winter because I'm too lazy to drive when it's cold here, but during the summer months, I drive to my old job and I literally just go like sit in the parking lot and just stare there. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going back to this. I used to work at the post office, and that was anybody that works at the post office hates working at the post office. So I literally just go sit in the parking lot and just like stare there and be like, man, this was my hell for like 8 years. And like, that's why when you were talking about earlier about lonely times, and we were talking about how sometimes it's frustrating, like once you get out of job, just imagine going back to your job. Like even if you had a decent job, right? Imagine now you had to give up the ability to take a vacation when you want to take a vacation. Imagine that, if your kid gets sick, you have to go to work and just leave him at home.
Right.
Those are the things that motivate me more. When I first started, I thought like money was going to make me happy and all these things and stuff. And then once I started getting the stuff, I realized you have to keep setting bigger goals. So now my goals are helping people, helping my family. I don't really get inspired. I get more excited seeing like somebody like you hit like a big win that I remember going through. It makes me emotional when I see like your guys' faces and you're all excited, because I don't get, probably as bad as it sounds, I don't get those feelings anymore, right? When you're making lots and lots of money, it becomes numb. It's like, it's just like, it's a number in your bank account. But when you see somebody else go through that feeling where they self-doubted themselves, they, probably cried many times because they were failing, may not want to admit it. But I guarantee you there's been times you've cried like, oh, why is this not working?
Definitely,
and then you see that person like, oh my God, like I'm crushing it now. And like, I remember those feelings that I went through when I finally felt like I made it and I'm good enough. And yeah, so that's another thing that motivates me. I think it's going to be different for everybody, but you got to find something that's beyond money, because if you're just doing it for money, man, it's so easy once you make money to do nothing. I can tell you right now, like there's a stat out there that basically once you make $75,000, like you're comfortable and your needs are taken care of. And then from there, you're not really motivated to work harder. Some people say that they don't agree with this. For me, I do. Like once, I mean, I don't know about you, man, but once you figure out how to make like 20K a month, like you really don't need more money than that. Like you don't.
Right.
I mean, you can live a multi-million-dollar lifestyle if you actually add it up at $20,000 a month. So once you get to 10K a month, 20K a month, for me, the motivation is not to work harder if you don't have something bigger. The other thing, it's always a goal that I've wanted to check off forever, is once I retire from this industry and my life is not based around, like business, and I have lots of money in crypto and all my investments, I want to start a school in the Philippines that I 100% fund. And I want to basically teach, underprivileged children to basically how to make $1,000 a month, because $1,000 a month in the Philippines is like life-changing money. Like literally when you go from poverty to $1,000 a month, like you can help your whole family. And so for me, that's something I want to do, is mentor, young children. So you can't do any of this stuff if you don't get rich. And so you got to set something that's bigger than yourself, in my opinion, because otherwise you're not going to stop. I mean, if you look at somebody like, Russell Brunson, I mean, now he donates millions to charity. His next thing is he wants to go in. He's a Mormon, so he wants to go in and basically eventually create something with, his faith. You got to have something bigger than money. I mean, everybody's wired differently, but for me, money just doesn't do it anymore.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And also when we get to that point, when you actually build your charity in Philippines to teach all those underprivileged children how to make money online, to change their mind, don't forget to bring me with you, because I can go back to Taiwan, very close by.
Yeah.
Okay, now we move into the real serious question. Okay,
Right.
what are the top 3 mistakes that you have been seeing people are making constantly when they first jump into this industry, jump into the affiliate marketing space and started as a complete beginner? What are those top 3 mistakes that you can summarize? And these 3 biggest mistakes are actually keeping people stuck. So what are the 3 mistakes?
Right. How about I'll flip it, and it'd be the top 3 mistakes that I made, because it's probably the top 3 mistakes that they make. Number 1 is not building an audience. That goes back to what I talked about before. A lot of people think that like the opportunity, a mentor, a system, a secret is what's going to make you money. That's not what's going to make you money. What's going to make you money is building an audience of people that know, like, and trust you, that are interested in something specific. You help those people, and then you provide them with a solution. Because if you want more money, it has to come from somebody else. From day one, when I come in, I seen all the promises of, make $1 million, overnight, like, which, it's kind of, if you look at like my program, it's to create 6 and 7 figure earners, but I don't say create 7 figure earners literally in your first year. Like, do I think it's realistic you can do 7 figures in this day and age in 2 years? Yes, I do, because I've had students that have done it. They've done it faster than even I did, just because of the fact that when I started, I didn't have the resources. So yeah, when I first come into the industry, I was that person. I was that hardcore opportunity seeker. And basically I never stuck with anything. I was looking for constant hacks. And it wasn't until I really learned to stick with something and then build an audience of people that are actually interested in something, that's when I made money. So it goes back to that story I talk about in the Philippines, where, I drove around the Philippines, because I'll just go back briefly to share it. Right. So basically when I wasn't making money, I was very selfish. I was focused on Zach's $50,000 in debt from the drunk driver hitting him. Why is this not working? I'm trying all these things. It's not fair. And so I'm not proud of it, because I'm very big into my faith. I just don't talk about it as much outside. Is I got on my knees at one point in the Philippines, and I literally was like begging God, and even like cussing at God, which I wouldn't recommend to do, but it's like, why is this effing not working? I was just so desperate, because I've been trying for so long in order to basically make this work. Right. And then I just begged God and said, look, just give me the answer. Tell me whatever it is I got to do, and I'm willing to do it. Like, I'll literally embarrass myself if I have to. I didn't really get a message for a couple of days. And all of a sudden I get this recurring trend in my mind over and over about I need to give to other people, which is weird because at that time I never thought about even donating 25 cents to like, you know, the coin jars and you go to the like 7-Eleven or whatever for children. I mean, I was the most selfish dude ever. And so the thought of giving money to people that I didn't even have was crazy. And at that point I had a total of like $3,000 in my business, $3,000 in my total bank account. My rent, my share of my rent, and I live with roommates, was like $750. And so essentially, for the first thing was to give money to other people. So this was about 5 days before Christmas. And so I tell my one roommate, I was like, hey, we're going to drive around the Philippines. I'm just going to give money to people that need it more than me. And they're like, what the hell? And so I go take $300 out of my bank account. My dad thought I was nuts at this point because I didn't have $300 to give. I rent a moped, drive around the Philippines, just giving it to every poor person I could see. And when I went into the one it was 7-Eleven, this girl was there. And basically I go to give her $25 and she just like gives me the change back. So I'm buying like rice and chili. And when I give her the money back, she's like, no, sir, you have your change. I'm like, no, it's for you. Merry Christmas. And she just like breaks down and starts crying. Sorry, this story gets to me every time. And so when she basically, replies and tells me like why she's crying, because she's like, I can barely even speak. And she tells me she's going to work 18 hours that day. And she's not even going to make literally the $25 that I gave her. And she was crying because she hadn't been able to buy her 3 kids. She was a single mother. She hadn't been able to buy her kids Christmas presents yet. And the first thing she was going to do when she got off work is go home and buy her kids Christmas presents. And I went home and literally called my parents, bawled my eyes out, and was just crying. And I realized the lesson God was trying to teach me is I'm selfish. I'm focused on the $50,000 in debt. Why is nobody buying from me? Why is this so frustrating? It's not working. And it was all about Zach. And so literally part of the equation I didn't share with you earlier, the reason I made the 40K in 45 days, the very next day I went and changed everything I was doing. It was just about how do I help people? How do I help people every single day? And that's what it goes back to what I said about building an audience that you build trust with and you help them, because people like people to help them. So number one, it would be to build an audience, take yourself out of it, and just everything you do, focus on giving, learn and give. If you do that long enough, somebody's going to buy from you. And then you're going to have your first sell and you can leverage it and make the next sell. The next one would be the whole multiple streams of income and be omnipresent and be on every platform. This is the big thing I see all affiliate, mentors teaching, is to be everywhere, promote multiple streams of income and be on every platform. I personally don't agree with that. Here's why. If you're in a full-time job, how many people are in a full-time job? Just put a number 1. Let me know how many people put 1. I can't see it, Daniel. So if you're in a full-time job, you don't have that many hours in a day. Probably best case scenario. A lot of you probably have children, you have other commitments. Even if you're single, you probably have limited time every night as well as energy. Is there quite a bit? Putting 1.
Yep.
I just wanted to see how many people have a job. So you have limited resources. I don't even care if you're 22 years old and you come home. At the end of the day, there's only so many hours in the day and you only have so much time to focus. So you need to use that time wisely. So one of the things I teach people is to focus on your focus. And what I mean by that is pick one product, or I would go back this way. Pick one business model, one mentor, pick one product to sell, and pick one platform to sell it and one way to sell it, and then do that for 1 year. And this is what most people don't have, is they don't have focus, right? They're constantly trying to build multiple streams of income. I see people right now, they're crypto investors, and this is a guy that's investing thousands and thousands into crypto, but you can't become rich with crypto if you don't have lots of money to put in crypto. You need a cash flow business. That's how you get rich. And so what you want to do is go all in on what you're doing. Like just pick one person, ignore everybody, one business model, one product to sell, one platform to do it, and become the best at it. Like if you're going to be on TikTok, for example, right? Just do TikTok. If you're going to do Instagram, just freaking do Instagram. Like if you're going to do Facebook, go all in on Facebook. It doesn't matter what platform you're doing, right? Like at the end of the day, I believe all of them work. I think Facebook works. I think YouTube works. I think TikTok works. I think Instagram works. I think even still blogging, even though I hate writing, it still works. But it's what you're gonna stick with and you're gonna become the best at, and you're literally gonna just go at it with everything you have until you make the result. What a lot of people do is they're dabbling, right? They're doing TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. They're doing, like reoccurring income, high ticket, low ticket. You got to just commit to one business model. I hate low ticket. I'll be the first one to tell you. It makes no logical sense to me. Why would I want 10, 20, 30,000 buyers to make $1 million when, like, for me, I can do it with 167 customers? It just doesn't make sense. But low ticket still works. So whatever you do, don't think there's only one way to do things, right? I'm not the only mentor. Daniel's not the only mentor. There's so many good people out there you can learn from. You just got to pick your path and you got to stick with it. And that's it. So the second one to remind you is to pick what you're going to do and just stick with it. Like that is the secret. Like I bet you can ask Daniel, he didn't get success until he picked something and just stuck with it long enough until he's seen results. And that's the biggest thing I see so many people doing is making the mistake I did, which is being an opportunity seeker. You never stick with anything long enough to stack the odds in your favor. And so for me these days, I'm focused on subtracting, not adding. I'm trying to constantly get hyper focused and get rid of things that I hate doing to go all in on what I like doing and what I'm good at doing. So without sounding arrogant, I think there's very few people that can compete with me when it comes to speaking. And the reason for that is because when I started speaking, I was scared of it. It took me 30 days to do my first video. I got drunk and I still couldn't do it. I was so scared. I'm like, man, because if you guys can't tell, I got tattoos everywhere. So I'm like, people are going to think I'm white trash. They're going to judge me. Back then I had like tank tops so you could see everything. I'm like, who's going to listen to this broke loser in the Philippines with tank tops and tattoos, right? People would like, but because that was such an insecurity, I'm like, I'm going to be better than everybody at speaking. And so for the last 5 years, I've like I bought every course in the industry on webinars. I constantly buy new courses on speaking. I listen to people speak just to get better at it. And so what you got to do is pick your path and just do it. Like become better than everybody. Don't get sidetracked. So one of the things I really did is to get good at speaking. I listened to Russell Brunson. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Russell Brunson. But basically like he had a podcast. It was called Marketing Your Car. And so what I did is it's not even around anymore. He now has, I think it's like Expert Secrets or no, not Marketing Secrets, something like that. But like at the time it was Marketing in Your Car. And so I literally downloaded like all 300 episodes. At the time, which, I need to do it again. So I'm kind of fat now, but like I was losing weight at that time. Right. And so I was walking 4 miles every day. I put the podcast on my phone and I just put them on loop. And every single day for a straight year, I listened to the same podcast again and again and again and again and again. And I got really, really good at speaking. And so this is one of the things I don't really see many people doing is they don't go very deep in what they're doing. They're going very wide. They're trying to constantly do a new platform. They're trying new things and they never really, really stick with anything until they get good at it. And people that do lots of things don't make all the money. Specialists do. You don't make a lot of money doing something when you do 7 things. You make a lot of money when you are the best at what you do. So for me, the things I care about getting better at consistently is webinars and speaking. And the reason being is I want to know that if my competitor goes against me, I'm going to take your piece of the cake, like period. Right. And that's how you get good at that is by literally focusing on becoming the best at what you do. So to summarize, become hyper-focused. That's something I see people are trying to create multiple streams of income before they figured out how to make 6 figures with one. Makes no sense. Let's see. A third thing. Those are my 2 biggest ones. I'm trying to think of like what the third one would be. Probably just kill distractions. I mean, it kind of goes along with what I just said, but it's really, really huge. Like one of the things I constantly having to do. So if you guys don't already have it, I would highly suggest you guys get like, like a pad of paper and a pen and keep it on your like desk all the time. I'm constantly taking notes and thinking about things. And so what I do every single week is I sit down and say, what are the stupid things you're doing, Zach? And the reason being is every single week I can look at something like I start getting sidetracked. Like, for example, now I'm trying to learn a lot about investing, right? Because it's one thing to make millions of dollars a year. It's another thing when the tax man's taking most of it. You got money leaking out because you're just so busy making money that you're not realizing you're buying. Like, I mean, there's things I would look back and realize like, man, I've been paying like $2,000 a year for this software. I haven't used it in 3 years. Like, what the hell? So like one of the things I'm doing now is really, really studying on like how to make money, but or how to keep money by investing it and making more wealth. And one of the things I started noticing at one point, I started getting sidetracked. Like there's this opportunity for crypto and I'm like getting all like, oh man, I can double down, make a bunch. I'm like, nope, I got to just, that's later. Like you got to be able to focus on what you're doing because it's kind of like what I was talking to you before we went on the call. And I was telling you about when I'm going to go back to the Philippines and then I'm going to move to Florida, but I'm not doing any of that until I know that things are balanced because as soon as you take your eye off what you're doing that's growing, it can go down. That's why I don't really truly believe in passive income because there's very few things that are truly passive forever. Like you're not going to make passive streams of affiliate marketing income and you just turn it off and do nothing, right? You got to still maintain it to make sure the passive nature stays in place. So I would say kill distractions, man. That's one of the biggest game changers for me. is to constantly say no more than I say yes. Every time I see something that looks sexy, I'm like, man, I'm on the right path. Like, and that's one of the things I think, I don't know about you, if you've experienced this, but you always feel like you're missing something. You
Mhm.
always feel like you're missing out on the next big opportunity. And the grass always seems greener, but the grass is greenest where you grow it. So one
Mm.
of the big entrepreneurs I really love, the guy's made like 100 million plus, Alex Hormozy in the fitness space. He teaches basically, like, I don't think he's doing it anymore now, but he's made like $100 million teaching personal trainers, which are like one of the most like broke audiences you can sell to. And he sold a product that's $42,000 to help them grow their personal training business. And he said the reason he never has invested in crypto, even to this day, after he's made like $150 million online, because he doesn't understand it. And he goes, all the money I make is right here, what I'm doing. And I'm trying to become the best. So yeah, I mean, shiny objects syndrome is a killer, man. Even when you're making a lot of money, it doesn't matter if you're making, if somebody put FOMO, it doesn't matter if you're making 100,000 a year, you're making $1 million a year, you're making 5 million a year, you're making 10 million a year. It's something that you got to get better and better at shutting out distractions as you grow, because as you make more money, it's more dangerous to lose it, if that makes sense. So
Right.
me, I'm always trying to shut out distractions. And I think it's incredibly important as a beginner, because you never get to that first 100,000 when you're trying to do 3 businesses at once. Like if you can't make one business do 100K, you're definitely not going to make 5 more do it. It's just not going to happen.
Right. That's so true. That's so true. Okay, I'm gonna ask this question, okay, from a good friend of mine, and also in the high ticket coaching space, but just recently jump into the affiliate marketing space. Okay, so
Okay.
this person is from Nassar. Nassar he's asking, as you are going for 8 figures this year, what is your exact daily routine that people can model so they can replicate your success in some way?
I mean, the one thing I don't think is possible is to completely model somebody's routine. And the reason being is if you have a different business model, that makes a difference. But like, to be honest, man, the more money I make, the less I'm trying to do. I don't know if that makes sense. But what I mean by that is when you first start, say to make your first 6 figures, you're going to be doing a lot more work. Like, and I don't mean a lot more work as in like harder work, but like you got to learn more things, right? But as you get to a certain point, like I'm at a point now that investing in more mentors, I've spent over like $275,000 on mentors and like courses at this point. So it's not going to take me much to the next level, right? And it's at the point now, it's more implementation and optimizing what I have, and then investing money to make more money, and then just getting better and better at what I'm doing. But in the beginning stages, it's kind of like you're piecing all the pieces together. And so a lot of times, like you're doing a lot of things you shouldn't be doing. These days, like for my schedule to grow and make more money, one of the biggest mistakes, I've seen surgeons on here that I did before. I used to work like 7 days a week, and it's stupid. And the reason being is because there's a reason they call Sunday the day of rest. Like you need to rest your mind to remotivate yourself. And even now, like I'm trying to be done with work by 4 p.m. every day. So I get up at 4 a.m. I'm off to the gym. Then from there, I try to do all my high level thinking. So anything that's like content writing, here soon, basically doing TikTok and Instagram Reels videos, YouTube, any ads I need to shoot. If I need to do a webinar or a live stream, anything that's going to require me that I need to be my best self and think at a high level, I want to do in the morning. And then from there, I'm probably going to switch off gears after lunch because my mind is pretty much burned out at that point. And now I'm going to do what I call get by work. Get by work is like, you're checking the emails, you're checking your messages or anything that's like, it matters, but you shouldn't be doing it early in the morning. So one of the things that you got to get really good as you grow your business is using your time very wisely. And I'm trying to get very, very stingy with my time, that like, I don't let people pull my time in the morning. I don't do things like check emails. And I'm trying to get like so good at being done by 4 p.m. that I can just disconnect. And then from like 4 p.m. to like 10 p.m., it's my time. So for example, one of the things now that I'm going to do, because it's always been something I want to get good at, is every night I'm going to dedicate 1 hour a night to get good at guitar. And that's something for years. If I look back at it, it actually cost me money. I convinced myself in the early days, I just got to grind. I got to grind. And I actually think it cost me a lot of money because I was too focused on making more money and never being happy with the wins that I had. And I didn't really have much fun. One of my 7-figure students, we talked about this before. We just focused on grinding all the time. And I bet it honestly cost me $10 million because your brain and your mind cannot grind all the time without a break. You need time to recharge. So I would say no matter whatever your business model is, man, like really, really, really get good at your schedule of like getting things done in like 4 to 6 hours. Because I see people that like they brag about working 15 hours a day, but the reality is everybody has about 4 good hours a day, and you got to get good at using the time you have wisely. I mean, I've seen people that have kids like you, for example, and they achieve more working less, and it's because they have to. They have other commitments like their children, and their wife is probably not going to be very appreciative if you're working 15 hours a day and ignoring everybody, right? So it's not about how many hours you work and everything like that. It's about taking what you have and optimizing it. So now to get to the next level, I'm not focused on buying new courses to learn marketing hacks. Like in the last probably 5 to 6 months, I've invested $140,000 into marketing. And I can tell you right now, I didn't learn anything marketing from the coaches that I got from. Like I already knew everything that they could teach me. The things that I learned is like simple stuff like optimizing my schedule, making sure like I optimize my sleep. Like I don't have it on right now, it's charging, but I have like this thing called the Aura Ring, and it like pays attention to your sleeping patterns, right? I'm trying to get where I get like hyper sleep, where when I'm sleeping I'm in deep state. Because if you sleep 8 hours but you constantly wake up 6 times a night to go to the bathroom, you wake up in the morning and you're moody, you're not very focused, you're foggy. So in order to go to like from 7 to 8 figures, you got to optimize all these like boring things, like your sleep, your routines, cutting out things you shouldn't be doing. Now I'm outsourcing everything that I hate doing. The next step I'm going to get rid of is probably writing content. I hate writing. People say I'm good at it, but I don't enjoy it. It's something I've held on to forever because I convinced myself, for example, nobody can write the same way as Zach can write. But one of the things I've started to notice in the last 6 months, as I'm getting rid of things that I thought nobody else could do, my income is going up because I let go of control. And that's another thing I see a lot of people, they're stuck and they can't really grow to even 7 figures, is they're trying to do everything themselves. And that was another big, huge mistake I made early in my career, is trying to do too much of things that I should have let go.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I'm still in that phase you just described. I'm trying to do like 15 hours a day all over the places while kids trying to drag me. So yeah, I mean that's something.
Like for example, like what you're talking about there, real quick, to not divert, and I'm sure to be helpful for other people. It's like what I told you privately, man. You'd be better off giving up like $1,000, $2,000 a month of your income and like get somebody that's amazing that can do Messenger for you. Like Messenger, for example, like I don't think it's possible to make, like in this day and age, like don't get me wrong, like I'm a funnel guy. I stand behind funnels like to the end of my life. Like if you're doing YouTube and TikTok, you literally cannot talk to everybody you do on a viral platform, right? It's just impossible. Like we get sales come through. I never even know who this person is. But by doing Messenger, like you're literally connecting with people and it builds that relationship stronger. But as you grow, you got to let go of things that are taking up lots of your time. Even if there's something that's making you a lot of money, you're better off like giving up $1,000, $2,000 of your income, working with them closely for a month so they become you and you're duplicating yourself. Now you're getting 40 hours a week. Like it's like you created another Daniel. So now you can like double your income. And this is like one of my biggest breakthroughs, is just letting go. And what's funny is I was the outsourcing guy, right? I ran that outsourcing business, but I had such a bad experience with it. When I switched to affiliate marketing, I'm like, I hate this stuff. I'm never outsourcing again. And then I tried to do everything for years, and it was foolish.
Right. Yeah, I did took that advice, and working with my setter, my team. I do feel that alleviate me from those like unnecessary pressure. I can focus on things that really matter, like growing my company, serving my customers.
Yeah,
and
that's where you want to focus your energy. At the level you're at now, like you want to focus on the things you enjoy doing, and then everything that like you don't enjoy doing, you get rid of.
Right. Thank you for that. So, okay, now we're moving into the third phase, right? I mean, a lot of people watching this video right now, because we all know that you just newly launched a very successful coaching program called Millionaires Challenge System, MCS. So what made you decide you want to create a program like this before we go into details?
Yeah, so it's kind of like what I told you privately before we went live. Like a lot of people, they have this misconception that like my program is about buying my program in order. Oh, and thank you, Philip's on here, so I was going to use him as an example. So a lot of people think like my program is about buy my program so you can sell MCS, and that's like the farthest. Like I never wanted to even do this angle originally, but the students wanted to do it. Right. So what I've done over the years is I've listened to my customers, like what they want, I end up giving them. Originally, my old coaching program, it was like how most people structure their programs, right? It's like there's no real structured process. It's like you're giving a bunch of methods, like here's the traffic methods, here's how I pick products, here's how you build an offer in a funnel, here's how you do email marketing. And I get to work. And then what happened is the success ratio was like very, very small. And then what I noticed is like whatever people come into my program, 99% of them did not want to pick their own product. They didn't want to learn all the skills and take years to make money. And whatever I promoted is what they wanted to promote. And they wanted to do that so they could watch what I do and then model it. And so what I started doing is realizing, okay, if I want to raise the success ratio and I want to have, more control of that, the only way to do that is for me to craft the offers, then let people leverage it. And then from there, teach them the skills. So you can probably vouch for me in this. Creating an offer that makes money is effing tough. like when I went from even
crazy,
when I went from even like, I'll be 100% transparent with you. When I went from selling affiliate products and making almost $2 million, like I made like 1.7, 1.8. I'd have to add it all up, but that's roughly the figures, right? And I thought I was a hot shot at affiliate marketing. When I come into this world of selling my own thing, I got schooled real quick. My first year of trying to sell my own product, I think I took a massive pay cut, man. I think I may have made $175,000 selling my own product the first year. And the reason being is I had no clue what all went into it. Like, I had to learn to, one, create an offer that sells, which, I was able to do that very easy with affiliate marketing. But what I was doing is I was tapping into offers that are already proven and then just like throwing a bonus package on it. Wasn't very hard. When I had to sell my own offer, I had to realize like, man, you got to learn how to actually, speak to a certain audience that doesn't know you. You got to make the offer sexy so they see the value in it. Then when you get people buy, you actually have to coach them and help them. And then on top of that, you have to, do customer service. And I was doing all these things and I was getting burned out over and over and again. And so eventually, once I got the offer right and it blew up and everything and made a bunch of money quick, it really hit me that like creating an offer is probably the hardest. People think traffic is the hard part. Traffic is not the hard part, right? You can have a small audience of 100, 200 people and literally make, $50,000 a year. When I was literally like with a Facebook group as an affiliate, like just a Facebook group of like 700 people, and I was making literally $250,000 a year just from the Facebook group.
Wow.
Doing affiliate marketing.
Wow.
And the reason being is I was doing the things I told you about before, just giving value. I'm talking about like a specific affiliate offer, not, the 500K in a year. But I'm saying like there was one point in my career, at one point, I was totally burned out. I didn't email my list the whole year. I literally deleted the whole list. I was just like, I almost quit the industry, but I just kept the Facebook group. I had like 700 people in it. I just kept promoting, like I just do like live streams and share value, like what I'm learning. And I made $250,000 in a year just recommending affiliate products. It was way easier. But one of the things that I learned is that creating an offer in the beginning stages, it was not easy. Like if I go back to my very beginning years when I was like going from blogging and then from there, get someone with Philip like vibe. When I went from like blogging to learning affiliate marketing and all these things, in the beginning, it was a major learning curve, learning how to like build an email list. And then from there, learning how to email, like, what do you even say in the emails? Then from there, learning how I like to share every now and then when I do like Facebook posts, I show like how, like when I first started Facebook marketing, the only person liking my post was my mom. It's like highly embarrassing. I mean, like, it was like, thanks mom, but it was like flattering, but it also was embarrassing. It's like nobody else was liking my stuff. Right. And then when I started learning things like Messenger, like people were ghosting me in Messenger and never talking to me. And when I started doing webinars, my very first webinar, I remember getting on the webinar and I literally got on and it was because my mentor said, you got to do a webinar or I'm going to fire you. And I'm like, what? Like, he gave me 3 days to launch a webinar. I didn't even know how to do a webinar. I had to go Google, like, what software do you use? I bought like, what was the one big one? I came GoToWebinar, right? I barely knew how to do it. I posted a link in my Facebook group, like, guys, I'm doing a webinar. I get on and I'm just like teaching what I did at YouTube back in the day. And I'm like, all right, guys, thanks for coming. I got to go. And they're like, wait, you don't have anything to sell? I'm just like frozen, right? I didn't know how to sell on a webinar. I'm like,
Right.
well, I'm doing this affiliate marketing thing. They're like, what's the link? And so I give them the link and I made like, I don't know, a handful of $25 sales. But it was like,
Wow.
I didn't even know what I was doing, right? And so creating an offer is very, very tough. And so that's why I launched what I did, is because I knew that if I wanted to be able to create more 6 and 7 figure earners, it's much easier if I'm crafting the offer. They go promote what's already proven. I'm lending in my phone team, giving them my emails, teaching them literally everything I do. and then they can learn the skills as they go. A lot of people, make the misconception that my program is about buying my program to sell it, and I don't teach anything. I think you can be one to vouch that I teach a lot of high level skills in the back end, but we separate it, right? Here's beginner level skills. Do these things first. Once you get to 5K a month, now do these more advanced things. When you get here and you want to go to multiple 6 figures to 7 figures, now we start doing the advanced stuff. And so you want to keep things very, very simple, plug into what works, learn how to generate traffic and make your first sales. Then from there, you can crank it up much faster. So that's why I created the offer, is because creating an offer is not easy. Do I think anybody can do it even from scratch? I do. If you stick with it long enough, you will be able to figure out how to create a winning offer. But to go back to where I was saying that my offer is not about just promoting me, Philip was just on here. You brought him up on the screen a minute ago. When Philip came to me, he literally was like miserable. Like, hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing this, but he was in the world where you launch these crappy little low ticket products, and his products he put TLC into, but he was having to go and promote other people's products that he felt like he was selling his soul to the devil. I understand, because I come from that world. I hated it. I did one launch. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not promoting crap. I had people like so mad at me, I wouldn't promote him back. And so he was stuck in that world. And then now he's literally using my Facebook strategy, and he's making $1,000 to $5,000 a day.
Crazy.
So,
Crazy,
the reason
yeah.
I created the Millionaires Challenge system is you partner with me. I let you leverage everything I create, that I literally spend hours and hours and hundreds of thousands of dollars of my money optimizing. You promote it, you make fast money, and fast is relative. Don't take that out of context. For some people, fast is a month. Some people, we've had people come in and make $5,000 in their first 3 days. We have people made $20,000 like you in their first week. We have beginners that quit their job in 90 days. But fast is relative, right? If it took you 6 months, would it be worth it to you? If it took you a year, would it be worth it to make 6 figures? Hopefully, yes.
Yes.
So
yes.
my goal with the program was to create more 6 and 7 figure earners, but it's to, yes, use the sexy angle, give you the things that you need. But then once you come in, I literally slap you in the face and teach you what you need to do. And you know that in the very first module, I break you down, change your whole world of how you think, and then teach you the real skills that you need to do to build a big business.
Exactly. And the reason why I asked you this question, because I know exactly what I'm getting from your coaching, and but there are people out there, they don't know. That's why I purposefully
and I understand it, because part of the angle of partner with a millionaire, it looks like that was where I said I was kind of like, when I originally launched it, I was debating, do I want to do this or not want to do this? Because I already knew there was going to be plenty of people would say things like, I'm not teaching the skills, you're not learning anything, it's a pyramid scheme. I've heard it all, right? And so that was part of my hang up of doing it or not doing it. But then I ran with it. And it speaks for itself. We've had like 22 or 23, people hit the 10K club in like literally 4 to 5 months. I don't know of any other program that's done that personally.
Right. Just one quick side story. I never share this with anybody. Okay. So this is first time. I just want to show you this behind the door story. So basically, I know what I've been following Zach for a long time. Okay, he's the big icon in the industry.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I was doing research, so I never got a chance to know you personally, but I know who you are based on your YouTube channel, based on your product, based on the impact you created, and also other big guys I was following. Right, so I really like your style. I was dreaming that one day I want to become you, because when I do something, I want to become one of the top, right? So I want to learn best. And you guys, so when Zach came out this MCS coaching program, I know exactly what he got. So I want to learn, right? When I came to Zach, I say, I want to learn from him. Okay, can you take me in and teach me whatever you have? And Zach told me, do you want to come here to help people, or you want to make money? If you just want to make money, I don't want you. Okay. I was kind of pissed off internally at the time, right? So people don't know.
To go back on that, I guess that's one of the things I wanted to touch on. And I got sidetracked. So to add a fourth element of what do I see people do wrong? They try to make money. And so I heard Russell Brunson, you hear me reference him a lot. And the reason being is, if I honestly am honest, I've learned probably the most. If I look at, like, besides my original mentor, it helped me get traction. I probably learned the most as far as marketing and like how to become a good speaker and everything from Russell. And so one of the things Russell said is, he goes, when he was selling coaching programs anywhere from like 8K, 10K, 25K, whatever it be, He said that he always noticed one trend of the people that like become millionaires and the people almost make no money. And he said, do you know what that trend is? The people that just want to make money. And I 100% agree with that, because I can tell you, like, there's no, like, not even me, like right now, if you're even looking at the program and you're thinking you're just going to plug in and I'm going to give you a magical secret, like, save your money, like, run, like, just, it's not for you. And the reason for that is because I'm not a magical like system. My system is not magical. Like, I don't have a secret. It's about being consistent, learning the skills and getting better and focusing on helping people. And when you focus on just making money, the problem with that is you're focused on yourself. You're also going to cut corners. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to quit as soon as you hit a roadblock. And so that's why when you said about like what I was just told you, hey, if you just want to make money, I don't want you. And the reason being is when I created this new program, I didn't want people to just want to like take people's money and they don't actually care about other people, right? I wanted to make a difference and actually help other people. And that was why I created the program. And that's something that, if I'm completely honest, my original program before this, it wasn't nothing like it is now. Like, I didn't have any accountability coaches. I didn't have a team of 10 people. It was me. I was doing all of it. And it was good, but probably 10% good because I didn't have help to actually help the people. And that's why I said that to you, to clarify.
Right. Good. So, okay. Now, next question. Okay. If you can name one thing, okay, by you launching this MCS program, okay, what is the biggest problem you and your team can solve or has solved with MCS program? Okay, what kind of biggest problem you can solve in the industry through MCS program?
Okay, so in my opinion, it would be you get help. And the reason, what I say with that is the difference between what I'm selling and, at least to my knowledge, what everybody else is selling. Everybody else is selling courses. I'm selling coaching. And there's a vast difference between that. Coaching is when you actually have help. So for example, every week we have calls just like this. You know, you come on, you can get your work, reviewed. We literally break down. Now, be prepared. We're going to be honest with you. We're not going to say, hey, there, Daniel, even though this is horrible, it's good. No, we're going to tell you, hey, this sucks. We got to tweak it. We got to do this and we got to fix it. So you actually get real help, right? It's not like you're just coming into a course and then good luck getting the mentor. I mean, you can send me a message. You may not hear back from me immediately because I get like 200 messages a day, but you'll hear back from me every single day. When members post in the group, you see it's me that's actually answering it, or it's my certified coach. On top of that, we actually hold you accountable. So instead of you just coming into a program and you're on your own, we actually follow up with you every week to make sure you're doing the work. We're going to kick you in the butt if you're not doing the work because we want you to get results. On top of that, the number one thing, as I told you, that I see people fail with is a lot of the programs come in, and I know me and you've even talked about this. They'll give you like a done for you funnel, right? But where people get stuck is like how to put the funnel together. How do you, sync all the software together? And then it has errors and then you get frustrated and you don't even take the first step. So I can tell you, after making millions of dollars in this industry, about 80% of the people never take the first step because the tech overwhelms them. I hate tech. I don't like tech. That's why I have techies that solve all my problems when I break stuff. And so that's another thing we do, is we set everything up. Now, do we teach you how to do all this stuff from scratch in the program? Yeah. But like for me, I don't think tech is a very good skill to learn. You're better off learning marketing and then pay somebody to do that. So to summarize, number one, we don't sell courses. We sell coaching where we actually work with you and help you to get the result. Two, we hold you accountable. Three, we set everything up for you. So it's not just like a course you're going in, studying a bunch of videos. It doesn't have any type of strategic plan. There's 27 traffic sources. It's a very, very guided plan of what to do. Then we guide you to do it. That's the difference.
Yeah, Dylan said you were even helping people when you were dealing with your dog issues. Yeah. Okay, now you are already multi-millionaire, making multiple 7 figures right now this year, going for 8 figures online. But if you could go back in time to meet that old Zach, okay, who was 50K in debt, and he was about to jump into this affiliate marketing space, start his own affiliate marketing space as business as a complete beginner. So with knowing what you know right now, what kind of advice would you give to that old Zach at the time before he started?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a couple different things. Number one, I would say to figure out, like, one of the number one lessons I teach in the program is long-term versus short-term thinking. And so what I mean by that is, like, short-term thinking is I want to make 10K. It's not very specific, right? Like, how do you want to make 10K? What's your plan to make 10K? And you got to think about what kind of entrepreneur you are. Like, so I'm already full, knees deep in what I'm doing, right? But there are sometimes I miss, like, I'm envious of being just you. And what I mean by that is like right now, it's like I've had to learn in the last 6 months, like leadership, something I'll be honest, I don't enjoy doing. Like I got to manage 10 people. And then in order to grow to like 8 figures, I'm probably gonna need to hire another 10. Like, and it's like already stressful. So one of the things I do miss sometimes is like just being an affiliate. I had no responsibility. All I got to do is generate traffic, recommend affiliate offers, of course, help my people, you know, that like come in my Facebook group and everything. But that was it. I was working 4 hours a day and making 50K a month. And when I look back at it, I don't really need more than 50K a month. Like it sounds nice to say, yeah, I'm making $200,000-$300,000 a month, but there's also all the other responsibility. So sometimes I have this like love-hate thing. Like I like it because I make lots of money. Then I hate it because it's like, oh man, all these people are like, I'm like, I have this underlining fear of letting people down. That's one thing. So
and they say if you need somebody, you can hire him.
So number one, figure out what kind of entrepreneur you are. Secondly, don't start. Well, I guess this goes along with the same thing of figure out the entrepreneur you are is don't build a business based on what other people want for you. And what I mean by that is like, if you're somebody that like values, you know, more of your time and your family and all that stuff, build a business that allows you to do that. Like I'll be straight up honest with you. My business doesn't give me a lot of free time. Like, even though, yes, I'm getting it down to where, you know, like I work till 4 p.m. I'm married to this. Like, and that's the facts, right? You're not going to make 8 figures a year and you don't live, breathe, and sleep your business. Can you make $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month passively? And now you have to put a lot of work in. I want to make sure because somebody's going to twist out what I'm saying. Like, oh yeah, he's selling it too easy. You're going to put a lot of work in to get to that $20,000, $30,000 to $50,000 a month. Daniel can vouch for that. But once you get to that $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month, and you have the systems in place, you could probably work, in my opinion, 3 to 4 hours a day, because I've done it, and do that, maintaining it. Will you go to 100K, 200K and above doing that? No, you won't. But you will be able to make a really good income and have a lot more free time. And that's why I say figure out what you want, because I've had friends, for example, they're more lifestyle guys, right? And they're like, I would never do what you do. I'd hate it. And so you got to figure out what kind of person you are. I'm the kind of person I'm always like pushing for more. Like if I do 200, then I got to do 300. If I do 300, I got to do 400. It's just about proving to myself I can just break that next level. That's my personality. I'm also a workaholic. A lot of people would not choose to be me. I can tell you that. So figure out who you are as a person, what it is that's important to you and your goals. That's going to make a big difference on the path you take. Another thing would be to be focused. I talked about that earlier, but I was a hardcore opportunity seeker in the beginning. I wasn't focused. Honestly, it cost me more time. If I would have just like picked my path and stuck to it, I would have made money faster. Like I've had students that hit the $1 million way faster than me. And to make it clear, I didn't make like $1 million literally in the first 18 months of being online. For 2 years, as I told you, I was literally running that outsourcing business, doing a bunch of other stupid side hustles that I absolutely despise, like e-commerce. But once I actually plugged into affiliate marketing, it was in 18 months, I become a millionaire. And so if I think back to that, what if I just started out with affiliate marketing because it aligned more with what I wanted to do with my life? Right. I would have been able to skip 2 years of hell. You know what I mean? So pick your path and stick to it. And then I think the third one is like believe in yourself. Like I'll be straight up honest, for the first several years, I was a very insecure individual. I think part of it is I was $50,000 in debt. I just felt like, I guess because I didn't grow up around like, you know, anybody that was rich, I always felt insecure. Even after I made $1 million, man, I thought like I'm not good enough, like some of the people I looked up to. So that's why even like when you were saying how you wanted to be like me and everything, I didn't really say much, but it's like, don't try to be like me, be the superior version of Daniel. And that was one of the big things. I mean, I find it flattering that you say that, right? But at the same time, it's like, it also is kind of self-deflating because you're like comparing yourself to that person. Does that make sense? And that's something I really did bad, of beating myself up. And even when I would hit milestones. So for example, you probably can see the 2 Comma Club award, right? I put so much of my self-identity into getting that stupid award that once I got it, it was just like, this is it. And then I realized, like, it goes back to like when you guys were asking about what is my bigger purpose. My bigger purpose is not to get the 10K award to throw on my wall. It's like to help more people. It's to help my family. It's to be able to eventually have the money that I can do that charity. It's not to get a award to go on your wall. Is it cool? Am I glad I got the award? I put it on my wall. Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, it's like, you want to think about where you want to be long-term. So you're working towards the path that you're happy with. And that's something that I did a horrible job, honestly, early in my career, is comparing myself to people, setting goals for other people had this goal. It wasn't even my goal, but it was my goal because they did it. So I needed to do it to prove my worth. So believe in yourself. Have fun when you're building your business. Don't view everything as a challenge. One of the things I see so many people do is they're like, man, this is so hard and it's so frustrating. And, this sucks. And they're not enjoying anything they're doing. And that's why they're struggling, is because they view everything as like a chore. They view it as like a task that they have to do, versus for me, I'm obsessed with marketing. Like I love when people sell me. Like if you can sell me, like you're good. And it's because I'm like the most skeptical person on this planet, right? And if you can sell me, you are freaking good. So enjoy the process. Like that's something that I never did. I think part of it is because of where I come from, being $50,000 in debt. But if I could go back, I would have like lightened up a little bit. You see me laughing and smiling and stuff, dude. I was the most uptight a-hole you could follow back in the day. I never smiled like Pete. Like literally, I'd do my videos and I'd be like this: "Hey, what's going on, guys? Zach Crawford here today, and I'm going to talk about productivity." Like, does that seem very friendly? Would you want to follow somebody like that? No. But like, and it wasn't until like some of my students are like, "Dude, you never smile." I'm like, damn, they're right. I don't smile. It was because I was so uptight and put so much pressure on myself all the time to get to that next level, the next level, the next level. I never took time to just like be proud of myself and say, man, Zach, you did a really good job. So yeah, that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I'd even give yourself, like celebrate your wins, be proud of yourself, be proud of that first email lead, be proud of your first 5 Facebook group members, your first video you publish online because you have the courage to do a video. Like those little things are more rewarding than, oh man, I made 100 grand. I don't know about you, but I appreciate the little things. I look back now more than the money.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's hard though. It's hard. I mean, especially when you were in that situation. I remember when I was in that situation, I tried to celebrate all the small wins and all that. I mean, but just like you say, I constantly comparing myself with other people, even though I have small wins, but that's not enough. That's not enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, definitely. Like, it's kind of like it's easier said than done about being consistent. Like one of the things I'm always preaching is about be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. But like it's just like sometimes things happen in your life that's hard, right? Like for example, I shared about, my fiance almost died. Then this last week, I'm gonna be honest, like I didn't work for like 3 days because I was just like stressed out thinking my dog's gonna die in the next year. Like there's sometimes you just get punched in the face, and some of the things are easier said than done, but the more you can really practice on enjoying the process, the easier it is. And yeah, somebody just put one step at a time. Like, I guess I could summarize it with this, right? Enjoy the journey and realize it's going to be the right time for you when it's your right time. I'm a big believer in God, right? And I believe that God sets us up for the success and the wins when we deserve it, when it's the right time for us. And so try not to put so much pressure on yourself that like literally you're miserable every day, because building a business is hard enough, right? Building a business is you're taking a path right now that is not normal. Like you're not normal. Like your family goes to a job, your friends go to a job. You're taking a total left field, right field, whatever you want to say. And it's going to be hard enough in the challenges you have. Don't be your number one obstacle.
Beautiful advice. Thank you for that. And Zita just say she just did her first video. Congratulations,
nice. I think
Zita.
everybody should tell her congratulations, because that's a big task. Like for me, that was monumental. The first time I did it, it was scary.
Yeah,
I'm always jealous when I see people that they're not scared and they just go do a live stream. They're like, cool, you say do live streams, I'm gonna do live streams. I'm like, man, I could have not imagined doing a live stream as my first video.
Yeah, me either. I mean, it took me a long time. I mean, I'm still learning it. I mean, I'm still learning it. And yeah. So what advice would you give to someone who had failed in the past? Okay. Like myself. Okay. If I start it, I failed miserably back in 2020. I was doing exactly what you were doing, what Philip was doing, focusing on JVZoo Warrior Plus. I know that. So I believe there are a lot of people watching this video. They are still in that phase. Okay, they consider they have failed many times, and they are at the point whether they want to give up or maybe they want to give it another try. So what would be your advice for someone like that who are in that position right now?
But first off, you have to switch your mindset that it wasn't failure, it was experience, and it's physically impossible to get success without failing. And that's one of the biggest things I think that most people that are not successful, they don't know how to separate what failure is and winning. They just see winning and that's it. There's no in between. It's like I did this, I bought this course, or I got this mentor, or I'm doing this business and I failed. But you didn't fail. You're getting experience. So kind of like I told you, I didn't put together part of the reason I hit it big is I was blogging, right? And I was sharing it wasn't about affiliate marketing in the beginning. It was just sharing what I'm doing is in the Philippines, and I'm building this out. So, and then from there it transitioned. Now I'm doing affiliate marketing. I was sharing these tips. What I failed to look at is once I got the success, I'm like, I was successful because of this business I joined. No, I was successful because I was putting in the work for 6 months and building up an audience. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
I thought that I got lucky because I plugged into the right system. The reality was I created my own luck, but it took me years to figure that out. So yeah, you gotta realize that the things you're going through are not failures, and you also got to forgive yourself, because what most people are doing, as I told you before, don't be your number one enemy. Like, there's not going to be a single hater that's going to say something more nasty and stop you from succeeding than yourself. I get haters every single week trying to trash my name, but not a single one of them can put more of a dent in my success than me. And the reason being is you're always going to be the person that says the nastiest things to yourself and knocks you down. And so you gotta realize that when you're building a business, it goes back to what I said. You're different than everybody else. You're gonna scrape up your knees a little bit in the beginning. You're gonna make some mistakes. But what's going to happen is there's going to be one day when you actually, I don't know, maybe it's a mentor, a course. I don't know, maybe you're watching a freaking podcast or a YouTube video and something clicks. And then all those failures that you went through, you're going to be able to see all those things connected the dots. So Steve Jobs talks about, you can't take success and just look forward and see it, right? You can only look backwards and connect the dots moving forward. But when you're standing there going forward, you can't see the actual clear dots that lead to success. You have to go through it and learn the process as you go. So I would say number one is start with a clear mind and start with, okay, I'm going into this with a totally fresh start. It doesn't matter if I failed 27 times. I'm going to make 28 right. Like, I've seen it before where people come into even my program and like person A, like, just believes in what I say and they get fast success. Person B thinks they know everything. Like they try to take all this stuff they learned before and they're like, yeah, but I've tried this before and it doesn't work. They literally start off on the wrong foot going in. And so what you got to do is you got to just like let everything go. So to give you an example, man, if we go back, you said why I started MCS. So to go back to a little back history, 2020 and 2021 was like two of the worst years of my life because of the pandemic. Like, literally, I got fat. If you guys don't, normally I'm shredded, have a 6-pack. I mean, I was like back to doing some of my old crappy habits because it was like real martial law in the Philippines, right? There's at one point where me and my fiance were eating like hot dogs and rice for like 3 months because we couldn't even get food at the grocery store darn near. And so it was a very, very painful experience. I even think back about it, I have like major, major pain. And so when I come back home, I was like debating, do I want to keep doing affiliate marketing? Do I want to keep even teaching this? Do I just want to disappear and go just trade crypto? Because I have plenty of money in the bank. And so I dropped 100K on a mentor, and the 100K, a lot of people think like I learned some magical secret. I didn't. The reason that I was massively successful in just 5 months, like at this point, like I think we did like 1.5 million, like 5 months, something like that, right? And the reason we were able to go from nothing to that fast is because I spent 100K and it got me moving. It lit a fire under my butt. I'm like, I am not going to lose this money. And I started from scratch. So my business, I pretty much shut it down for like 4 months. Like when I come home in June of 2021, I was doing nothing till almost like September. So what is that? June, July, August. Yeah, almost 4 months. I was doing nothing. And then I dropped 100K, and all of a sudden I literally started working with a purpose. I mean, I was putting in 18-hour days for 45 days to launch this. And then boom, 190K in the first 30 days. And then basically $250,000, $300,000 almost a month ever since.
Right.
So I mean, if you look at it, technically, even though I had success before, I failed because my business crashed. And I don't know about, have you had any failures yet? Like where you've done well and then you kind of like, have you hit rock bottom yet?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. I mean, I would say back in 2020 when I had no money, that broke on full stem. I consider that was the very, very.
But what I mean is, have you like, for example, now you've had pretty darn good success. Were you successful prior to 2020 in another business and then failed, or were you just like you hit rock bottom then?
I was successful with my security business for 13 years.
Okay.
Then I moved away, jumped online, started my Amazon FBA business, but that one failed. That one.
Okay. So the reason I asked that, every entrepreneur makes the mistake of drinking their own Kool-Aid once they make money, and they think this is it. I made it. I'm never going to fail. And that's happened to me before, where I got to a point where I just thought I couldn't fail, and it was like one bad thing in my life, and then my business tanked. And so that's why I was sharing that, is that it doesn't matter whether you've never made money, you failed before, or you've made a couple $1 million and you failed. I've done both. And what happens is when you fail, the longer you go and you fail, you build up this thought process in your mind that you can't do it, right? Then it feels more and more like you're climbing Mount Everest. And the only way to change that is you literally just like let go of the failures and the hurts and the pains, and you say, you know what? I'm done failing. Like I'm done. And today I'm committing with everything I have, and there is no plan B. Like this is the plan A, and there's no plan B. And that's what I've done every single time that I've crashed my business, and I've done it several times over the years. Like I go back into it. I'm like, you know what? This sucks. I'm starting from scratch, but I'm going to do it. Now, did I have the ability that I already had some skills? Yes, but even the same thing when I was failing in programs before, and then I committed and I got the success. Like when I did the 500K in a year, dude, I didn't make but maybe a couple $1,000s in affiliate. Like my best month ever in affiliate marketing was like 5K. But most of the time it was under $1,000. It was all over the place. I was promoting like those like ClickBank products, right? And when I went into it, I was just frustrated because I wasn't making anywhere type of money that I could live off of full time. But I just said, you know what? I'm done failing. This is it. I'm down to my last $3,000 I'm spending here. There is no way I'm going to fail. And I remember I told my dad, if you guys have ever watched my documentary video, I called my dad. I told him I'm investing in this business opportunity. I had 3K, and I'm like, Dad, I'm going to make $30,000 in the next 30 days. He thought I was like, you know what, crazy. But I wasn't messing around anymore. I drawed my line in the sand. At that point, I'd been in the Philippines for 2 straight years, hadn't seen my family, no Christmases, nothing. And I was stuck there. I'm like, that's it. I'm coming home. And I went home on my 2-year anniversary that year, like 2 years of being away from my family. I went home literally on the 2-year anniversary, which was the coolest feeling ever because when I flew home, I made $3,000 while I was flying with no internet. And I remember looking over at my job at the post office, like, you know, like give it to the man, right? You're never telling me what to do again. That was the best feeling in the world. But the reason that happened is because I drawed my line in the sand. I said, I'm done failing. I'm done feeling like crap. I'm done struggling. I'm done crying. I'm done like not getting what I want. And then I really think it's just making a decision. I don't know if you relate to that, but that was the pivotal moment for me is saying I'm done. And it was committing to what I was doing.
Yeah, I mean, I went through different story, but similar that mindset shift inside of me. So basically, yeah, when I first started out, I want to make some money, get my family off the food stamp back in 2020. But once I'm in it, I want to become the best of best
and
person.
That's how it was for
right?
me.
Yeah, keep learning. So I remember while I was struggling, I mean, I keep telling my audience the only reason why I am who I am right now, it was because I didn't have any option for me to quit.
I agree with that. Like that was the same for me, man. Like where I was $50,000 in debt, I was like so depressed. Like, I mean, I told you I struggled with like pills and drinking and everything. And for me, I was just tired of being in debt. Like my parents didn't have tons. I always wanted to help my parents because like one of the things I always felt guilty with, I didn't really share it. The $50,000 in debt was from getting hit by the drunk driver, right? It wasn't because I just like charged up my credit card and was reckless. It was because, you know, like the girl was a drunk driver, had almost no insurance. My like medical bills were insane. I was in the hospital for like 3 weeks or 2 weeks, something like that, and physical therapy. And my parents basically stepped up. Like when all my friends left me, I mean, they literally at one point, I couldn't even go to the bathroom on my own. They had to carry me to the bathroom. They paid my bills. I just felt guilty that like they did all that stuff for me. And I wanted to be able to give something back to them. And so for me, in the times that I felt like quitting, I thought about my parents. Like for you, it was probably your kids and your wife, right? But for me, it was like I didn't have kids or anything. So I just thought about I can let myself down. I can quit on myself, but I won't quit on my family, period. So that was really for me the same thing.
Right.
When we talk about your past, I can imagine myself. English is my second language. You can think how hard it would be, but I'm working hard to work at it. I never think of giving up. I'm a positive person, a workaholic. 1% learning gives me to become a better person. Yeah. So I had a student before. She was from Indonesia. And like she struggled with 2 things. Number one, she really come from real poverty. And then secondly, like she was a woman. So I don't know if you know much about Indonesia, but like from my understanding of how she explained it, they don't have as high of standing there, right? It's kind of like that in most of Asia, honestly. It's getting better, but that's how it was then. And so she was really, really nervous about like doing videos and everything. And is because English was her second language. And she's like, well, I can't succeed because number one, I'm a woman. And number two, I can't succeed because English is my second language. And I said, you're right. Which, you know, her face was just stumped. Like she didn't even know, like, what? I'm like, you're right. Because if that's what you think, that's what you get, right? How you're going to change that is you practice on speaking every single day. So even though English was my first language, I was terrified thinking people were going to think I'm white trash. So how I got doing videos is every day I would go to the gym and I would just like, hey, what's going on? Zach Crawford here. And today I just got done doing, bicep curls. And I would just like talk about my day, right? and that's how I got over the fear of speaking. I did that for like 30 days. I never uploaded the video. So I'm like, look, if English is your second language, how do you get good at English? You practice speaking a lot of English. And then at the end, she got so good at speaking. She even like blown me away. Like one of the things you learn in speaking is tonality. I'm not doing it a lot right now because we're just like, basically shooting the crap, right? But like when I'm doing like webinars or I'm like in marketer mode and I'm doing like, marketing, I raise my voice, I lower my voice, I use tonality, my body posture. If you notice when I'm talking, I'm very animated. These are things you learn when you learn to speak well, right? And what was crazy is I never told her any of this stuff. Like for you, you remind me of her. A lot of this stuff I don't even tell you. Just watch and just go do it. And I'm like, where did you, oh, I know where you got that. Like you're like a sponge because I told you from day one, watch me and then do it. And then you literally listen and that's what you do. And she was the same way. I never told her that though. Like for you, I told you just to watch me and then do it. Right. For her, she just watched me and started doing it. And then she learned tonality. She learned like moving her hands and being very animated. And so I'm a firm believer that whatever you commit to, that's why I said before, draw your line in the sand, pick your path, stick to it, and become better than everybody. So use your weakness as your strength. It's also your strength because, for example, Daniel could say, hey, I'm from Taiwan. English is not my first language. I was on food stamps. In your case, I don't know what country you're from, why English is your second language, wherever you're from, but you can tell that story. And guess what's going to happen? People that English is not their first language, they're going to resonate with you. Versus for me, they're going to be like, well, you speak English. So a lot of people think their weaknesses are their weaknesses, but really they're not. They become your strengths.
Right.
Like speaking become my strength because I was insecure about doing it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to become the best speaker. And that's how you turn your weakness into your strength.
Right. Definitely. I mean, thank you for sharing that because I mean, thank you for validating that for me because I keep telling my students, my audience that even though, because maybe you can address this as well from your perspective. A lot of people asking me that how can I convince other people before I have any results. Like when I teach people how to do Facebook marketing, people ask me how can I leverage other people's results or how can I make result post before I even have my own results. So I think a lot of people are in this mindset. So I keep telling them, you got to be relatable, you got to start from being a good reporter, just document your journey, and really try to help people out.
I agree with that. So it's like what Gary Vee says, you don't create, you document. Creating is like, let me go here and type up this post. Like documenting is like you're sharing behind the scenes. So you're one of the things I teach is the role of the relatable beginner. One thing I don't teach to, Zach is addicted to the way he talks so smooth. One of the things I don't teach is to basically perceive yourself as an expert. Here's what I even suggest this for you. Stop saying you're an expert. Even when you're making money. You cannot I challenge you, find one piece of content I put on the internet to this day that I've said I'm an affiliate marketing expert. I've made more money than most of the people that are branding themselves as an affiliate marketing expert, and I've still never said it. And the reason being is from day one, it made sense to me that when you say you're an expert, like think about it. When somebody's like, I am the expert at this, now you have the ability that you can contest it, right? Prove to me you're the expert. Like it automatically, it puts people on one side of the fence. Either one, they're going to agree with you, or two, they're not going to agree with you. Versus if you're just like, hey, let me just share my experiences of what I'm learning, I'm doing. Now people are going to drop their guard and they're going to be open to listening to you. So what you do is you go into whatever it is you're doing, you binge the process of what you're learning and share it freely. Like, here's the thing, right? Say you even sold your own course. I could literally go in my program right now and I could just pick every day. I'm going to teach this module here. I can give it away for free every single day. I guarantee you there's going to be people that still buy. Why? Because people want things in a very strategic manner that they can follow. How many freaking trainings can you find on YouTube? Endless. How much content can you find on TikTok? Endless. Now, is it organized and strategic? Do this on step 1, do this on step 2, do this on step 3. No, people pay for transformation. They pay for a step-by-step process. They don't pay for lots of information. So what you got to do is stop trying to be the expert. Stop trying to position yourself as somebody that's amazing. And just share what you're doing. Share the things you're learning. Be relatable. So I debated heavily over the last couple of months of sharing these things that I was going through because I'm like, man, if I go and share that like my fiance is possibly going to die. I mean, you remember the post, right? I even posted, I was so scared to post it. Like, I thought she was going to die. I mean, it was the first time in my life I was like really exposed. I mean, I couldn't even, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I was drunk for 4 days. I totally lost it. I fell off like literally I mean, I didn't even know what to do with myself. I was like crying endlessly. I mean, for 4 days, I couldn't even keep my emotions together. Total opposite of what I tell you to do. I just lost it. And, but I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? Everybody thinks in this internet marketing world that everybody's perfect. If you have money, you have no problems. And so that's why I personally, when I have problems, I just share it openly. I've done that since 2014 when I started even getting any type of traction, is because I realized, hey man, I'm not the only one who struggle with depression. I'm not the only person that wakes up some days and I feel like, you know, a bag of turds. Like, everybody has these days that they just don't feel great. But what most people do is they show the best version of themselves, their highlight reels. They're the perfect person, have the perfect wife or husband, the perfect relationship, the perfect 3.5 kids, and they never have any problems. And it's not real. And so be real, be who you are, document your journey, share the things you're learning. And then what's going to happen is people are going to like you. So right now, let's say you wanted to, I don't know, be the TikTok expert, right? But you're a nobody. Don't try to say you're the TikTok. Like right now, I go on TikTok and I watch like, and I'm not knocking anybody that's younger, but I see like these girls and these guys, they're like 21 years old. They have no business experience. They've been doing it for 6 months and they're talking about they're a TikTok expert because they have 100,000 followers. I'm sorry, 100,000 followers is nothing on TikTok, right? Like, and so even to this day, I never say I'm the expert, because as soon as you say you're the expert, it puts people on the defensive versus here's what you do. Hey, what's going on? Zach Crawford here. I want to share with you how I built 10,000 followers on TikTok in literally just 30 days. I'm going to do this in a series. Follow for more, right? See how much more relatable that is? You share what you're doing. And if you just share the things you're doing, they're going to drop their guard. They're going to like you. They're going to start to trust you. Now they're going to be open to what is it you're doing. So even for me that I have credibility, now that I'm going in to do TikTok and Instagram, I'm not going to go in and be like, hey, listen to me. I'm the guy that made all the millions. I'm just going to share, hey, this is the process I did to make millions. Make sense? There's a big difference there. So when you have results, can you leverage them? Yes. Do you need results to get results? No, because if that was the case, nobody would ever have results. Like Daniel didn't have results to get his first sale. I didn't either. I didn't come out of the womb with a result. So just share what you're learning. Be yourself. And also don't try to be Zach. Don't try to be Daniel, because you're never going to be like, I could not be Daniel because his personality is completely different. Now, I'll be honest, we both have some really sick, crude senses of humor, but neither one of us could be each other, right? Because we're unique. We have our own unique experiences. We went through things that are different. And that's what also makes you the person that people join from, is because you have a unique perspective that they don't. Kind of like I said, your strength is the fact that you're from Taiwan and, you know, you were on food stamps. Like, I wasn't on food stamps. That's not my story. I can't leverage it, but you can. And then some of you are going to be, you have a corporate job, you hate it. You literally feel like death every time you drive into work. Boom. That's your story. Guess who's going to join from you? People that are going through the same, people join people they relate to. And it doesn't mean they also have to relate to 100% of what you say. Like, most people didn't put a gun to their head in their lifetime and want to kill themselves. But I share that story because it shows people that, hey, at one point I was weak. I was not the person you see today, and it makes me relatable. And so that's the biggest thing I also see in this industry. I didn't think about talking about it earlier, but everybody has this thing like, I'm new, so nobody's going to buy from me because I don't have results. And it doesn't work that way. You that's in your head. And so what you got to do is you got to flip the script and just start being the most valuable person on whatever platform you're using, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Like, just start sharing everything you're learning. And what's going to happen is you're going to get that first sale, and then it builds more credibility. That's my perspective on it.
That's awesome advice. I mean, that's always I want to educate my audience, because that's exactly how I got started. But the way you explain it is more powerful, you know? More powerful than me. So people can really know. Okay, this is coming from multi-millionaire, how he got started. Okay, you have to really dig into your own story. Just like the best customer. Okay, when you are starting out, the best customer will be you. Okay, so you got to talk to you in some way, like talk to old version of you, why you decide to make a change. Okay, so just finding that voice through your message by talking to all version of yourself. That's what Zach told me. Okay,
here's another perspective. Daniel, do you hate talking about how you were on food stamps?
Right now I don't hate it. Before,
what I'm saying is, like, you're gonna hate talking about your old story more than other people are going to hate.
Times?
Like,
Yes.
yeah, like there's nothing like I hate constantly talking about how I was $50,000 in debt. I was weak and put a gun to my head. I popped pills. I put my parents through hell. Like, but other people want to hear that, right? Because if you don't share your story as you win, like right now, if all Dana would talk about is how, I think you said you made 250K, is that right?
Yeah, 250K so far.
So
yes.
if all Dana would talk about is how he made 250K with marketing, nobody's going to join him because he's not relatable. It's like he's not somebody that they can relate to. You got to go back and show them, hey, look, I was where you were at. I was on food stamps. I went through all this stuff. These are the problems I faced. And that's what makes people know, like, and trust you. So trust me, guys, like you're going to get way more frustrated with talking about your story the longer. I mean, I've been talking about my story for 9 years straight. It sucks. But other people want to hear it, right? They want to hear those things because what that does, it gives them kind of like what you said. You knew of me for the years. I didn't know that till you told me the one time, in which it was news to me. Like when you come across me or when introduced to me by somebody else, I didn't know who you were and I didn't know you knew who I was. Because a lot of people like will say things to me like, oh yeah, you're, one of the gurus. And I laugh because to me, I just look at it. I'm just like a dude with tattoos that figured out how to do marketing, right? I don't think of myself as anybody. And what happens is as you go along, like you want to stop talking about your story and you also want to lean more to talking about your credibility, but nobody cares. Mm-hmm. Like nobody cares about, I got a 2 Comma Club award. Nobody cares about all the things that I buy and how great my life is. They want to see that you went through the struggle and you understand them, because if you don't understand them, they don't believe that you can help them.
Right. Exactly. All right. So yeah, we are keeping Zach with us for 90 minutes already. And thank you guys for being with us. I hope you guys all get
how about this?
Here.
See if there's any more questions. I'll answer 5 more questions. Pick your 5 best ones, and then I'll answer those.
Drop your questions right now. Okay, let's utilize this.
As Russell Brunson says, do you care if I over deliver?
Drop your questions. Okay, Zach will pick 5 questions. And yeah,
I'm putting you in charge. You got to pick the 5 questions. You throw them up randomly.
I will pick for you. I will pick for you. Yes.
Yeah, you pick the 5 best ones. Just throw them on the screen.
And
I seriously got to get a fan.
Yeah, drop your questions right now. And for those of you, if you don't have any questions, you can use this time to smash the love button. Okay, help me to boost up the engagement of this interview, so we can get it out to other people who are in need. So let me see. We have some questions coming in. Okay, let me see. Okay, this is from Salvatore. Okay, Salvatore saying that what's the best source of income you are making product wise?
Like, what does he mean by that question? Like,
I would say when
my product specifically.
You what kind of product you made your most money from when you are first starting?
Oh, when I first started. So I promoted everything from like softwares, low ticket, reoccurring, high ticket. Like here's one of the things I meant to touch on that earlier, because you're asking some of the biggest pieces of advice. And so I don't just say this because this is what I teach and this is just what I believe. When you do like reoccurring income, right? It sounds really sexy. Especially like, for example, like right now I make about $4,000 to $5,000 a month consistently on ClickFunnels. I'm going to scale that back up. So it's probably about 10 or 12, like what I used to make. It's great, right? But what happens is people drop off like fireflies. The industry standard on reoccurring income is like 3 months. It doesn't matter if it's software, digital product. Now software can sometimes go longer. But I do like having it. It's nice, but you got to replace the people all the time. That makes sense. My best products, hands down, that I've ever promoted are things like coaching programs, digital courses. And the reason being is, number one, you're going to get paid a bigger commission. And this is the biggest mistake I see so many people make. This is why I hate low ticket. So I know a lot of the numbers for some of the biggest programs out there in this space. Most of them need anywhere between 15 to 30,000 buyers to make $1 million a year. As I said, I need 167 people. And so for me, it makes no sense, because here's the thing. Unless you have insane amounts of traffic, like you have an Instagram following of like 500,000 people, or you have a huge amount of followers on YouTube, you can make low ticket work, or you can make even something that's like maybe $500 work. When you have a small audience, the answer is high ticket, right? Because if say you want to make $10,000, dude, it's literally as simple as like 5 sales, 3 sales, 2 sales, depending on what your price point is. So when you're small and you're a beginner, like high ticket. Now don't just get high ticket just because it's high ticket. Make sure it's obviously something good, but for me, I've tested both every time. And I've even tried to go back to it. I went from like high ticket, made all my money. So, when I made the 500K, and then I thought like, okay, I can make anything work. And then I switched to low ticket again. Guess what happened? So I've made this mistake too, dude, like 4 times, literally 4 times. I've went back to like low ticket, reoccurring. And then when I sat one day and I realized like, dude, I made all my money, like my real money from high ticket. So that's why I just don't like low ticket altogether, because number one, it's a very, very stressful business model when you're selling thousands and thousands and thousands of customers. You also cannot deliver a very high level of service. Like, can you imagine servicing like even 10,000 members a year? I don't want to. So
yeah,
and you can't really do much. So if you look at even with my program, like my trophies that I send out, like the one you have back there, the awards, I'm getting my own one that's like ClickFunnels made. Man, the only reason I can do that and have all the staff and everything to help the customers is because I have bigger margins. I'm not selling just a $500 course where literally it's just me that's running everything. So if you're charging cheap prices or you're recommending as an affiliate something at cheap prices, you can't scale it very easy as an affiliate. And if you're a product owner, you can't really deliver a high level of service because you don't have the margins. So for me, whatever you promote, I would try to find something that you really believe in, something that's good, and then you can make at least $1,000, $2,000 a pop, even more if so. The bigger the number. Now, obviously, make sure it's good.
Sounds good. Great advice. Thank you. And let's take another question from Philip.
How do
I scale from 30K to 60K?
Okay, so this is another trap that I can totally resonate with because I did this as well. So is anybody that's on this call familiar with a guy named Dagan Smith? I don't know if anybody knows him. It's been around long enough. We'll see if anybody says yes in the comments. You can let me know. But Dagan was one of my like original mentors, kind of like Russell Brunson. So he used to be really good buddies with Russell Brunson. I don't think he's even really in the industry anymore. He kind of just dipped out. But a lot of the stuff you even see Russell Brunson teaching, a lot of it, him and Dagan kind of developed together years ago. Well, anyways, I remember it was the year I made 500K. And I got on this webinar, and the webinar was about this industry is designed to confuse you. And I get on the webinar, and it wasn't a webinar like I would really say it's like this. It's like a live stream with just value, right? And the whole message was you're enough. You already know enough. You all you got to do is stay consistent, and you're going to get results. So I listened to his whole spiel for 2 hours. And he talks about why you already have enough value. You can scale your business. You just got to be consistent. And then it comes question time, and I asked the same question Philip asked. Okay, Dagan, I made 500K this year. What's the key for me to get to $1 million? Man, he reamed me so hard. He's like, dude, did you not listen to a word I've just been saying this whole freaking webinar? You're already doing 500K. Just do more of what works. Just stay consistent. That's it. And I remember it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I miss this? But guess what I did? I got sidetracked again, and I didn't stay focused on what I was doing. And so the simple answer is to double down, get more traffic, keep optimizing your offer. Here's the thing. I learned this from Alex Becker. And Alex Becker said, you show me one person that's scaled to 10 million that doesn't keep optimizing the same offer. What most people do is they make $1 million, they launch a new offer, make $1 million, launch a new offer, make $1 million, launch a new offer. And they think the answer to make more money is just to keep doing more things or to have 5 different businesses going at once. The answer is to double down on what's working and go harder in what's working, because you can't optimize 2, 3, 4, 5 things at once. You just can't. And so that's why even now I tell myself all the time, no. Every time I start to get distracted is because if you want to scale, you got to keep optimizing. And there's going to be challenges where you may, right now you're doing 30K a month. You may dip down to 20K. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Like right now, I'm actually optimizing things. And my goal is not to scale up next month. It's to optimize what I'm doing. So when I scale, it doesn't blow apart.
Right.
Because if you scale something that has weak pieces, it's going to blow apart as it grows. So the answer for you, Philip, you're doing 30K a month, is to double down and do it better. Like, just like what I told you before, optimize your webinar, make the webinar better, optimize the product, make it so it gets even better results for the students, optimize your back end with your affiliate offers so it converts better on the affiliate offers you want to push people to. It's not do 5 more things. It's just double down on what's working. Like that's the biggest thing I've learned from making the mistake over and over again of trying to do too many things when I should have just been doing more of what worked.
Yeah, that's very good advice. I mean, that's exactly what I need to do. So, Philip, let's do this together. Just double down on what's working. We have another question. Let's take another question. Okay, Christopher. I think Christopher, this question is for me. Okay, because he just finished the call with Ahmed. So he's asking, is MCS the only affiliation I have made my 50K a month with currently? Well, no, because I have multiple programs. Okay, and MCS is the big part of it. But I mean because I'm teaching you, okay, Zach teaching you how to be a real affiliate marketer. So basically, right now at my level, I can touch anything and create results, right? So I have different things, but I did change, adjust my strategies a little bit because I used to be all over the places, and that actually stopped me from growing. So after Zach helped me to stream down, focus on very few main offers that I really believe in, that's how I started to see my business growing at a very fast speed. So
I would say, like, even my honest answer, even that I run MCS, it's
mhm,
not MCS, man, that will make all your income. It's like picking what you believe in, and just like what I said, doubling down. Like, I truly believe you can make $50,000 a month in anything. Like, just like I said before, my program is not the only one that's good. Like,
mhm,
that's the facts, right? So whatever you choose to do, like, you just got to keep optimizing it. So no matter, let's say it was even a product that, like, you just truly believed in, and you made even, I don't know, like $1,000, right? I'm just giving an example. If you double down on it, what you focus on is going to grow. What you focus on consistently is what's going to go even beyond 50K a month. It's when you start doing multiple things, and I don't mean multiple things like what he's saying. I'm saying, like, when you're trying to build like several businesses at once and you're not optimizing what you're doing, your income just, like, it sticks. Like, and I've been stuck at many price. Like, for example, for years, I was stuck at like the 75K mark. I just couldn't, and part of it was a mental game. In my mind, I couldn't break the 100K barrier. And then once I did, I just blew past it. But it also come back to, I was doing too many things. I was like basically running my program, and I was also promoting like 5 affiliate offers at the same time. I went back to making the same mistake I made years ago. And then that's why this year, I cut out pretty much everything. I have like 2 affiliate products I promote, and they're mainly like software.
mhm. Good. Let's see. Okay, let's take this one. Okay. Sorry, I cannot see your name right now, but this.
In the morning, being energized. Work till 3 a.m. Using my feet the whole night. Don't usually get back home. Okay. So first thing is, like, you got to figure out like a strong reason of why you're doing this. I'm going to say that the strong reason should be that you hate your current setup. I mean, I don't know if you like your job, but for me, if I felt that crappy every day, that would be the reason I got to make sacrifices. 2, like, optimize your health. So, like, right now, I'll be straight up honest with you. Like, you can see, like, I got fat going on. I'm now like getting very, very strict to go back, because, like, I even had to sit down with myself. I'm like, look, I'm kidding myself to think I can do what I want to do if my sleep is not optimized, my diet's not optimized. So now, like, I'm getting my diet in check, going to the gym every day, getting my walks in. And so I don't know if you have time to do some type of exercise, but I would at least do walking. I mean, for your mindset. And that's where I would honestly listen to a lot of your affirmations and any type of audios and stuff like that. That's how I do it. And then what I would do is batch processing. So obviously what you're doing, depending on what you're doing, is going to be completely different, whether you're doing, like, say, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or doing YouTube. But what I'm trying to really get down with my schedule is, like, I'm doing things in certain days. So, like, on one day, I'm doing all my writing. On another day, I'm going to shoot all my TikTok/Instagram reels. On another day, I'm going to do my YouTube. On another day, I'm going to do my ads. And the reason being is, when I bounce all over the place, I just get very demotivated very easily, and I don't get much done, versus when I just hyper focus in on one thing. I get much more done. So depending on your work schedule, if you have more time on the weekends, whatever, I would really just batch, like, as much work as you can. And then it's kind of like maintenance mode throughout the week until you get to that sweet spot where, you can quit your job. And then another thing would be to only focus on stuff that really moves your business forward. Like, cut out everything that's not necessary and focus on the things that are going to move forward. So for me, like, in my model, like, the thing that's going to make me the most money is having more conversations. I'm at a point now that, I outsource the conversations. I'm not doing it myself, but that would be where I would double down on. Like, I would probably cut back on content. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people make the mistake of doing too. They see big people making more money than them, and they don't realize they have a team. they have money, they have resources, they can pile into it. Like, for example, that graphic that you use for this call, you didn't do that. You
No,
went
I
to
didn't do that.
probably
No.
Fiverr or somewhere and paid somebody
Right.
$20. And
Right.
so yeah, like it's focus on the things that are really going to move your business forward. Without knowing you personally or your situation, I don't know what that is. But figure out the things that are actually important and just kind of cut the other stuff out. B12, yeah, that's a good supplement. But I think honestly, just getting your health and sleep in check. Like, it seems like your schedule where you're working until 3 a.m. That's rough. I used to work night shift too. Yeah, get your sleep optimized as much as possible. I mean, sleep is incredibly important. I don't know about you, but if I get horrible sleep at night, you don't want to be near me. I'm probably going to punch you in the face. So yeah, get your sleep optimized the best you can. Get a good diet. Try to get some exercise in there so you feel good about yourself mentally. And yeah, optimize your schedule as much as possible. Like for me, I live and die by my Trello board. If I don't plan out what I'm going to do, I never get anything done.
Sounds good. Let's take one last question. Okay, we have
Right.
many questions. I know that we cannot answer all the questions, so I'm gonna give you Zach's contact information at the end of this interview. So yeah, you can you can hang out with me together with Zach more. Okay, we can do this more often. Let's take one last question. I do think this question, whether it's very important. Okay, because I encounter this kind of question a lot.
Eventually they can't for your training, but they would do anything to become your best student. No person. So that's why I create free content. And the reason being is because I understand a lot of people can't afford my program. The reason I don't create like cheaper programs is just because of the fact of what I said before. Like if I would create a cheaper program, then I can't really, it'd be a course. It would be not my time versus with my program. I put a lot of my personal time into answering everybody's questions. And at the level that I'm growing, the more and more time you invest, your time is worth more. That's not to say that you're not valuable because you can't afford my program. That's why I create like free content. That's why I'm even doubling down now to create even more free content on YouTube. I'm going back to YouTube now. I'll be doing TikTok and Instagram. A lot of that stuff is going to be for people that can't afford my stuff. One of the things I would suggest right now, whether you can afford my stuff or you can't afford anybody's stuff, is start building an audience. Watch somebody that's like your favorite person that you really resonate with. Watch what they do, model it as close as you possibly can. Start building an audience, sell something, in the early stages. Maybe you have to start out kind of like what me and Daniel did, where you start out with something like ClickBank or whatever. And then once you have a little bit of money, reinvest that money into something you really believe in. Getting a mentor, getting him plugged into a good program that you like. I didn't start out by day one by being able to invest in mentors. I had to go through and like make money and then work my butt off and then reinvest it. And I just kept doing it. Like now when people even hear me say I dropped 50K, 25K, 100K on mentoring, they think like I just did that from day one. And there's no way. I didn't even have $10,000 in my bank account. I had to grind, make the money I could, then I reinvested it. And I just made sacrifices for years and years. Like now I have nice stuff, but to be honest, for years, I lived pretty darn humble and cheap. Just putting all my money back into my business and learning from the best people I could invest in.
I see. Sounds good. Sounds good. That's really great advice. And thank you for, taking your precious time and talking to
No
us.
problem.
So tell us, if we want to, our audience, if they want to carry on this conversation, do this more often with you, where they can go, where they can find you.
Number one, just reach out to Daniel. I mean, a lot of you guys are probably in his Facebook group, so just ask him for I have a Facebook group as well. Just ask him for the links to join the Facebook group. I'll be doing a lot more live streams here soon. And then if enough of your audience wants like round two, I'm game to do round two. Not in the next couple of weeks. I'm getting ready to launch like a TikTok, Instagram challenge for the members. But
Sure,
once I
sure.
get caught back up, if they want to pile all their questions together for all their things that they can think of, I'm down to do round two as well.
Beautiful. Appreciate that. So yeah, guys, if you want to, if you have any questions, you want to reach out to Zach, if you want to join our mastermind free Facebook group, so we can hang out in there and also learn Zach's strategies, okay? And just to see how we build our business, you can message me or you can go to the link on your screen, okay? 0to7figure.com without S, 0to7figure.com. And on the second page, there is a button for you to join Zach's free mastermind group, okay? His Facebook group. Other than that, thank you for joining us today. I wish you guys have a blessed weekend. I will see you in my next live. Thank you, Zach. Talk to you soon.